Welcome everyone to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen a DNN hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement and we like to give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a TV show, and that TV show is Stranger Things Season 5, the series finale. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, I am not upside down, but I'm ready to talk a little Stranger Things. I will say, is this a season? Because I feel like it's always like Stranger Things 2, Stranger Things 3, Stranger Things 4. It's almost
Stranger
like this
Things
is
5.
a new movie. Yeah.
They've named every season.
Yeah,
like
as
that.
in like the number. But
yeah,
I'm excited.
I always
Gooch,
thought that was kind of weird.
I did too. I'm excited to get into it, man. We're 2 weeks behind, and I appreciate you bearing with me because I was catching up.
Yeah.
And then we were going to record yesterday, and then various things happened, and we had to push again. So I appreciate the pushing. But I'm ready to talk.
I'm so amped.
I know you've been raring to go.
I've been like living in the finale for like a week and a half, I guess. Like I'm like very excited to talk about this, which probably tells you that yes, I did in fact really enjoy the whole season. It's been a weird kind of it's kind of, I don't want to compare it to the Game of Thrones series finale, but it's very reminiscent.
I'll just say something right off the bat. I see people comparing this to Game of Thrones and to like how bad it is. You guys are smoking some insane shit, because like there is nothing that even comes close to comparing how disappointed I was after Game of Thrones. This doesn't even like nearly touch it.
I've kind of been thinking of it just like when you finishing a show must be a monumental task
1000%.
in writing.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to make everyone happy.
Of course.
Like not everyone is going to be happy with the way things end, with whatever you do, who's killed, who's not killed, and you have to service every character literally in finality. Like,
right, yeah.
So like, yeah, not every, like I saw a lot of people complaining about like, oh, like, well, we didn't see like what happened to Susie, Dustin's girlfriend. It's like,
I agree. Those are the things where I'm like, I saw
like,
one thing like, where's Max's mom? I'm like, that's not what I'm concerned about personally. Yeah, but I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. I think there's just like a lot of people are trying to bring in like everything they possibly can. It's like, it's a TV show. Like these kind of things, like characters are just kind of like Argyle. Like why would you need to know about Argyle? He was the surfer boy pizza guy with the long hair in season 4.
I totally forgot about
it. Yeah, but like exactly.
Yeah.
He was there for a reason in season 4 and
sure.
nothing more, nothing less. But like I said, I loved this season in general. I really enjoyed it. The way they divvied it up,
You enjoyed?
Yeah. I kind of like the first volume I staggered out really hard, like watched one a week because I was like, I don't want to just binge all 4. Then volume 2 came out, 3 in a row.
Right.
Never do that.
Sure.
And I was just like, all right,
you're in it.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
And then the finale, I stayed home on New Year's Eve to watch it, which seems like a lot of people did. They
they had the theater
showing.
stuff, right? Yeah.
But Trio, what did you think about the wrapping of Stranger Things?
So it was an interesting 2 weeks, Gooch, because I'm seeing all this conversation online, and I'm trying to avoid it.
Yeah,
because I just don't want to. And I genuinely did do my best, and I think I did pretty well as far as like, I saw people complaining. I didn't know specifically what they were complaining about, so I was like, all right. I mean, the Will thing got brought up a bunch and all that, whatever. But we'll get to that. I left Stranger Things 5 feeling pretty whelmed, to be honest. I was sort of satisfied with where it ended. There were a few hanging threads that I felt like were like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not terribly in love with the way that they ended Vecna and that whole upside down storyline in general, if I'm honest. I think a lot of the characters do get their shine. I really did enjoy Steve. I enjoyed who was Maya's character?
Maya Hawke,
Robin. I despised Nancy. I don't know
Nancy.
I don't know who wrote her this season, but it really did feel like, and I get it. I get it. She's going through things and people grow and all that stuff, but they girl bossed the shit out of her this season, and it was very annoying.
Well, I think that introduction of her being like a reporter in season 3.
No, don't get me wrong. There's some of, but like it felt more
or maybe,
like
maybe it's just season 4.
That didn't feel like and I hate using the girl boss term, but it felt very like she's like, oh, I'm going to get it done and fuck you. I know what I'm doing. You stupid boys. I know what I'm doing. Why are you idiots arguing over me? Like, I don't know. She felt super like, fuck you. And hey, maybe that's how they intended it, but She was the only person
I
to me
see
that
what you're
really
saying,
kind of
but
stuck
I
out.
also I don't agree at like 100%.
Sure,
but
yeah.
it's there in a way.
But no, other than that, I just walked away kind of questioning some stuff. There were some things that people did bring up after where I'm like, again, not like the stuff like where's Dustin's mom or something. It's like that thing that I did send today. There's no Demodogs, no Demogorgons, no Demodemons of any kind in the Abyss.
No Dale Dimmadome.
No Dale Dimmadomes of any kind when we get through the Abyss. And you know what's funny? I was thinking I didn't even realize it in the moment, but I was like, this feels like weird. Like it feels like a little empty.
You
it
know
feels.
What? Go ahead.
No, it's sorry. And then I don't know the disconnect between the like introducing this Abyss and then finding out what the Upside Down is. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff just wasn't very satisfying to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I wasn't like too upset about finding out what the Upside Down was, and it's like, we never really knew what it was.
We
like
kind of
I
just
always
assumed.
it's like some sort of parallel dimension that was created.
The Negachin, if you will.
Yeah, it was created when L like put Vecna into it,
right?
Essentially, so it looks exactly like Hawkins did at that moment in like 1983,
right?
Something like that.
But apparently, she didn't send him to Upside Down. Apparently, she sent him to the Abyss. That's that place where he ends up the first time with the Mind Flayer. And I want to get into the Mind Flayer and stuff too. But I think that is really where my like crux of my disappointment, if you want to call
the
that
semantics of the parallel
not even the
universe.
semantics, it's like the explanation of like I don't really know what the Mind Flayer is. He's just apparently he was big spoilers here. He was the big bad this whole time leading Vecna.
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's just like this like my
But that's not new.
No, but it is because they said it was because I thought the whole reveal in season, as far as I remember, the reveal in season whenever Vecna is introduced is that he is the one.
4.
He's the bad guy. He's been leading. The Mind Flayer has been him. But then now I feel like we just flipped back to like no, the Mind Flayer has actually been using him as his vessel. This whole time. That's how I understood it.
I always understood it as the Mind Flayer is controlling Vecna, and the Mind Flayer clearly needs people because he controls everybody.
Well,
he tries
to seems to have eaten this whole world.
Will, Vecna, the kids, like he's going after people. He needs like a parasitic symbiotic relationship. Billy, he needs these people to
So it just wants to get there and destroy the world like it did to the Abyss?
Why do you think the Abyss was destroyed by him?
Well, because that's how I like. I'm assuming it destroyed that world, and now it's trying to get to another world to feed, almost like a Galactus type monster.
Okay, I always thought it was just like this is like some sort of parallel world that just
because it's apparently another planet.
Yeah.
So
it's just another planet that these creatures
wormhole
are
connected
from.
to. But are they from it? Because like we don't. Again, that's where I get confused. Like,
but like, does that matter?
Yeah, it does. A lot
Why?
of because I want to know what the Upside Down is about. I want the whole
in regards to the plot. What does that change?
That changed the entirety of like how the ending plays out for me. There's some type of satisfaction to it. It's not just like, well, Vecna just wants to get to the world to consume it. Oh, just kidding. It's not Vecna. It's the Mind Flayer. And then we're discussing. We don't really.
See, I think you gotta take that L on you. That was.
No, I disagree.
Thoroughly established in season 4 that the Mind Flayer. It was.
We'll go talk about it.
I would bet my life on it.
Okay.
In season 4, I mean, they stop showing the Mind Flayer because I think the explainer is Vecna is like totally fucked up from fighting L, and now he's able to like physically kind of come out and be a bit more, combative, like literally, like physically.
Right. See, it didn't read that way for me at all.
And he starts going about it by, okay, I'm gonna start taking teenagers, Billy, Chrissy, all those kids who die, and he does it one by one. And now in season 5, Vecna's like, we need to escalate this timetable. I'm gonna go after all 12 kids at the same time. And go after younger kids, so it's easier because he's kind of, it's curious. Is the Mind Flayer figuring that out, or is Vecna? It's
well, but that's this is where it's all confounded for me because that I we'll agree to disagree on this one. In season 4, I remember them specifically making the reveal of like Vecna is the big bad. He has been controlling the Mind Flayer. Even in the moment when you see L send him to the Abyss, which we don't know it's the Abyss at the time. when he sees it up in the sky, he like grabs it and like kind of almost turns it into the look of the Mind Flayer. So again, I didn't really understand the motivations of the Mind Flayer. I didn't really understand the motivations, and that's key to me.
It knows there's an Earth because he got to Vecna when he was a kid.
No,
so
I realize
he wants to go after this planet that's full of food.
But again, we're even having this discussion. Like, is that so he's going there for food? We don't really know that. I don't really know if, like, I don't know why the Mind Flayer needs to get to this world. I don't know why he was using Vecna to do all these things. And then Vecna apparently thought it was him doing it himself this whole time, because then you get to the cave where you have that reveal of like, she's like, oh, he is just another vessel. He didn't want him coming into this cave because then he would find out that he is just a vessel and he is not in control. And then
he's definitely not in control.
But no, I know. But then that's when he realizes it. And then Will even has that inner monologue conversation with him of like, you don't have to be its puppet. You can fight it. And then he's like, I don't care. I want, it's what I want. And then he just goes with it.
I think it's him. So, like, I like that reveal of, like, them really humanizing Vecna for the first time. Like, no, like, he's just a kid like they are.
Yeah, no, he was the first kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first kid. And, like, it's like, no, you can
like that reveal.
You can overcome this. But he chooses not to.
Right.
He chooses to embrace Vecna or embrace the Mind Flayer and be like, hey, like, we're in this together, or like I'm using his power. He's not using me. I'm choosing.
Well, and he even
I'm
says,
choosing to use him.
Well, he's
it's our power, or like I have a handle over it. Like he's convincing himself that he's in control. And at the end, I really, to jump ahead, when Joyce gets the final hit on Vecna, like the look on his face is like, don't do it.
Right.
It's very humanizing. Of like he's going to die, he knows it, and he doesn't want to die.
I love Jeremy Bauer's performance, is one thing I will say. Like
Jeremy, no, that's not his name. It's
not Jeremy Bauer, really?
It's Jamie.
Oh, I think
Jamie Campbell Bauer.
Jamie Bauer. Got
I don't know if Campbell. I don't know.
It's probably his middle name or something. I would assume.
Yeah.
He's really fantastic. He's amazing in every scene. I really like him. Again, I don't think that is well established in the show by the end. Like the Mind Flayer's reasoning for being there, why we're doing all this. And of course, I know we need to beat it because it's the bad thing and it's going to do something bad and kill people. But like, I did want more beyond that. And I felt unsatisfied walking away with that ending. And even like, we kill him halfway through the final episode. And then we have this whole
totally
hour.
Cool with that. Totally cool with that.
Yeah, I did not.
I didn't need an epilogue. I needed an epilogue that was an hour long.
I said it in the Discord. It felt like Night King to me, where I'm like, that was it. That was it. Like we get. I don't know. Like I think I was satisfied more with Vecna's, reveal. With that reveal of him not knowing that he is under the control of the Mind Flayer. But then it's like, again, I'm just left wondering, well, what the fuck is the Mind Flayer? And then, maybe they have this new series coming out or whatever, and apparently it has to do with the rock that he finds that gives him the powers immediately. Maybe they'll go and explain it there, but I would have liked that explanation now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it doesn't give him powers.
Yeah, it does.
It's the rock from the planet that has a piece of the Mind Flayer in it, and it infects him.
Right. So it gives him those abilities.
It's a little more villainous than like he just gets powers.
Oh well, no, of course.
There's a creature in there.
The Mind Flayer bestows upon him that power through that stone, but like. And I like that reveal again. Like he didn't have any of these abilities until he got that rock, and then his blood then allows him to create new, telepathic individuals like 11. And I like the reveal of like they're trying to make a new 11 and all that, but then that all kind of just gets like it's gone
with the
military and all that, and even like all the moms and there are definitely a lot of plot threads that I just felt like, well, it's done.
Sure, and I think part of me like doesn't really care, and
That's fair.
And I think what they do succeed at is wrapping up this story with those characters. I don't really think I give a shit about what the planet is, because that's not really the point.
It isn't though.
For me, I think it's a story about these kids like going on their they have D&D as how they have fun, and they go out into the real world and pretend everything is D&D, and the whole series feels like a campaign. And I kind of think that was the thinking behind why a ton of characters didn't die at the end. I mean, this isn't Game of Thrones.
I'm actually fine. I'm not necessarily against no one dying too. I think that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think the teasing of Steve's death was a reaction to the fans.
Right.
I didn't want Steve to die, obviously, but like there was a lot of voices being like, I don't care, don't kill Steve.
Right.
So they made a moment where Jonathan catches him, which works because they finally like really stop butting heads, and they have that moment where they kind of finish their arc together, where Jonathan tells Steve like, hey, like me and Nancy like broke up, and like they kind of have this thing
When does
where
he say that?
When they're walking together.
Oh, I totally missed that. Because I thought, when did they break up? When he does the unproposal thing? Or was that...
Yes, they break up.
I thought that was such a weird scene, too.
It's not obvious. They break up.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like...
I kind of just assumed that.
They've been together, but they know they're not good for each other this whole time, but they just kind of don't have the...
No,
I guess realistically the moment to break up, so they don't, but they know they're like...
We're done, right?
Right.
And that whole dialogue, I was like, what just happened? I was like, did they break up? And then that's kind of what I assumed coming out of it. Interesting. I did like the weird effect of like everything melting. Yeah, that was very. So we find out that the Upside Down is a wormhole, basically.
Yeah.
Gooch, how have they never come across that wall?
There's really been like, think about it. Like they're not in there like exploring all that. Like they're in there to like go to another point. They're not in there like, we're just gonna stand around here and explore and look around.
Right.
Like, so like think about it as like a town. Like they're in season 4 they go from that lake to the buyer, or not the buyer's house, the Wheeler's house, and like that's what they're there to do. They're not there to like, let's just walk.
I'll let that one slide. It still feels a little weird to me. Anywho, I'll put my Cinema Sins hat down. I do think, like, this idea of it being a wormhole to this other planet in and of itself interests me, and I like that idea. And I won't repeat myself again. I just think that the Vecna.
I just don't think like that. Stranger Things is not about the bigger world of the Upside Down.
See, I feel like once you introduce Vecna specifically. That's where it kind of like it does make
amps up.
It really does,
right?
And it makes me want to be like, well, what is this? Who is he? Is he talking to the Mind Flayer? Is he having like? Again, I don't need you to literally lay all that out for me. I just want a little.
Maybe if they
more.
didn't end the season at season 5, maybe you would have gotten.
Well, and I think that's what they're doing with the spin-off series too.
I don't think they need like. I think the show ended at like a fine point. But let's take a little bit of a step back. Let's talk about some of our characters. I wanted to talk about Holly because her inclusion was, I thought, weird at first. It's like Holly's been around,
right?
3-year-old, 7-year-old, kind of a weird casting because she's definitely like a 17-year-old playing like a 10-year-old, and it's a bit.
She looked 12 to me. Honestly,
I thought she looked a little mature, like also, Millie Bobby Brown problem. Like I can tell you're like a mature adult. Like you're getting towards 18. I can tell. But. Yeah, we can talk about Millie Bobby Brown.
And I was just gonna say the age thing to me doesn't really bother me that much.
It didn't. Like it didn't bother me. Once I was sitting down and watching, Millie Bobby Brown doesn't look like the woman you see when she's on the red carpet.
Of course, and they know how to do that. And like also like I don't know if people forget, we talk about it all the time. There were 35-year-old fucking Joe Manganiello playing a high school student in Spider-Man 2, like back in the day, or Spider-Man
1.
So like again, at a little different time, they've gotten much better about casting younger folks, but I don't know. That really didn't bother me.
So Holly, they kind of do what they did with Will again.
Right.
The first episode is called the vanishing of Holly Wheeler, and they basically are doing that season 1 plot again, but it's on like it's on like a 12-person scale.
Right.
And that's sort of the introduction into finding Max. What'd you think about Holly? Because I think they ended up. I think this character with the most screen time, and I think it worked out pretty well. I think like how they used her as a foil worked.
No, I think she was fantastic. I think the actor was fantastic too. She didn't really, didn't feel super old to me at all. I felt like she kind of rested well within where she was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It didn't like her whole part didn't stick out to me that much. I get it's very crucial, and I get that she's having all that time. There's a lot of time spent with her. She's interacting with Mr. Whatsit, aka Henry, aka Vecna, And, we see her kind of unraveling. I like her introduction of talking to Max and like, they go out to the cave. I thought all that stuff worked pretty well inside Vecna's mind palace, if you will. And
yeah,
that
we don't
stuff,
really know what that dream.
Yeah, it's like a connected consciousness of some kind.
Yeah. It's his mind.
Right, and they're all basically plugged into his hive mind almost.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like this idea of like it's like Henry's kind of idyllic life that he's living in
But
inside
like
his memory, but there's a very bad shadow behind it. Yeah, I liked her a lot. Again, I thought her performance was fantastic. I actually think her performance was better than some of the main cast this time around.
It's because she's given, I think, so much time. There's so much development with her from a character, again, that like I couldn't even, if we were talking about season 4 and you go, yeah, the Wheeler's like younger sister, I wouldn't have been able to tell you her name.
I also would have been like, they have a younger sister.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because she's only in a few scenes. Like I specifically remember, I'm like, oh, like they have a sister, like it always, like every time she was in like a scene or two, like at the table, and it's like, oh yeah,
right,
like
she's there.
Totally forgot. I think they use that character pretty well. And going back to the Vecna part of it, like I liked how like he was like, again, humanizing him, absolutely terrified of like returning to the cave where he was shot. He found that person, like, pretty.
He got his powers, basically.
They show the scene like twice in full.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty harrowing. Like he's in a Cub Scout. Like the kid, like he's no threat to this guy.
Well,
at
and
all,
I think
and he shoots him.
You realize on this because the first time around you don't see it after he opens. The first time they show you it, they don't show you him. They show you him opening the box, but you don't know what it is, and then it cuts away. Right. And then you finally get the full reveal of it by the end, and then he picks it up, and like the guy. After Henry touches the stone, he seems like with it again. He's like, it'll corrupt you, like it's super powerful, and it will take you to the dark side. And then he just that kill was great.
That's the Mind Flayer taking over Henry,
exactly,
and using him. And
I think
that's what he's freaked out about.
No, that's what they say. She said it's not keeping him out of there because he's afraid of something. It's the Mind Flayer is keeping him out of there so he doesn't know the truth. That he is a vessel, that he is just a pawn to the Mind Flayer. But he obviously still finds that out and still continues along with it. And again, just the fucking fantastic performance out of Jamie Bauer. Like, he's so good.
Yeah. Dustin. I really like Dustin's arc, especially in the first few episodes where you feel like he's like gone, like not gone off the deep end, but like clearly traumatized by Eddie's death, wearing the Hellfire shirt still, the trench coat. He looks like he's out of, what's
Breakfast Club?
Yes. Yeah. He looks like a rebel, a rogue. Like he's like bad, and he's picking fights and he's cocky, and like that was never Dustin before. And I think the informed choice of doing that is like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Like he was like kind of boys with Eddie, and like the whole town turned on him, but he didn't, and he sacrificed
Well, they all still
himself.
think he's a murderer, right? By the beginning of the first season, they all think that he is like the guy who, I can't remember exactly what he gets wrapped up in the fourth season. Right, yeah.
Yeah. They think, and the other, I think, kids that died.
Right. Yeah. I think that, even, I was going to say, Maya Rudolph's character, I keep forgetting her name.
Robin. Yeah.
I thought her interaction specifically.
Maya Hawke.
Who's Maya Rudolph?
She's like a comedian.
That's it. Anyways, I thought her like interactions, especially with Steve, and then even like her back and forth with her girlfriend and things like that, and even the stuff between her and Will. I thought that stuff worked really well.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Will reveal here really quick.
Yeah,
because I just want
to just talk about Will as a whole.
There is something like I like his growth about like just trying to, of course, accept who he is, and then that's part of the reason that Vecna goes after him. People were fucking going hard on that reveal scene. Half of me agrees because there is the part the build up is I think the worst part. Where I feel like he's like about to tell his mom, and he's like, "No, wait, let's tell it." Like it almost feels like we're getting ready to tell people for like 5 minutes. Whereas I feel like if they kind of just did it and like didn't make this whole event out of it, I don't think people would be like making the joke about it as they are.
From what I've detected, it seems like they had a really hard time trying to figure out how they were going to do this.
Yeah,
and then actually a hard time filming the whole scene. In the 80s, would like somebody come out like that? Probably not. But I think in the 80s, somebody probably would come out a bit more formally like that than they would today.
Oh, I completely agree with you. No, it would it would be a major deal back then. Like that would
people. We're not gay, so what do we know? But like people don't like come out. You just kind of
I'm sure it
It's
still
not the
happens,
same.
but I'm sure it's
Right.
not the same way. And again,
Even
we're
when
speaking
we
for
were
place
younger.
ignorance. Yeah, especially even in the 2000s or the 99, like that was a true like that could
Right.
fuck up your life genuinely,
Yeah.
easily.
I mean,
and not to say it still couldn't in a way.
Billy Joe of Green Day. Green Day came out.
Yeah,
That was a
and then
big
even,
deal.
It was. I mean, even Ellen at the time, like in
Yeah.
the 90s, like no, that was still a major deal. So that aspect of it to me doesn't like ring untrue at all or anything
Yeah.
like that. I think that would be a relatively big deal. And you know, he's in a group of people where he feels comfortable enough to tell it. And I actually did even like his like explanation of like he's talking and he's like, you know, I just saw this future and it's not even necessarily that you guys hate me, but it's like that you feel bad for me and that you're like worried about me.
Right,
And that we slowly kind of start to just
He is so different in more ways.
well, but
than
and even
one.
just also like again, being gay in the 80s, that was again, as far as I understood, that was the normal kind of view from like the outside in of your family. It's like even the nice kind of aspect of like that's going to be a tough life.
AIDS
like, are you sure?
Right, the epidemic was big. Like there was a lot of homophobia and fear around being gay.
Like if you told the wrong person you were gay, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah,
110%.
And in season 1, like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like I you know, this Will gay plot. It's like in season 1, episode 1, Joyce goes to Hopper and when he goes missing, and she's talking to Hopper about the fact that Lonnie, her ex-husband, thought Will was queer, and they call him the F word.
Yeah.
And like this is episode 1,
Right?
And she's not just saying that. She's like, well, Will's always been a little different.
Right, yeah.
Like, and it's not saying like, oh, different means you're gay, but like, you know, like
Well, and
the way I read it was out of all the nerds in his group, he's different even from them.
Right.
There's something like.
Well, and I just think the idea is he was an odd child, and I genuinely don't think at that time they were going to they had the idea of like we're definitely going to make him gay and he's going to be queer when he grows up. I think that was just like, you know,
it's a good like
he's an
loose
odd duck.
thread.
Right.
We can play with this later.
And
we can.
They
weave
could have
this
ignored it
into something.
completely, or if they wanted to come back to it.
Right.
And again, it just comes back to that thing of like, you know, he's just like you said, she thinks he's an odd duck and he's seen as the odd duck, and that makes him
And even
easy,
his father thought he was
and
gay.
that makes him
queer.
And that makes him an easy target.
Hopper's like, is he?
Right. and that makes him an easy target for someone to literally, what's the word I'm looking for? Not
Invade their
not
mind.
invade, but like no, like the real word terminology of like you not breed isn't the right word. You you take a young person and you like kind of get them ready to date, groom them. Yeah, he almost like sees him as an easy opportunity to groom. He's a child that has no home foundation, that is kind of lost, and is just an easy target. Like for genuinely, even like a predator. Like there is a thematic connection there, because that's almost what Vecna is in a way of like he takes these vulnerable children and just does whatever he wants with them. And I think that again, that in and of itself is a very interesting dichotomy and an interesting theme and an interesting kind of story to explore. And I like that they get back to it with his sister at the end.
I did like this changing of like Will the Wise or Will the Wizard to like the Sorcerer.
I like
that
that too.
About in D&D how he's like your powers are sort of like they
innate.
They come from internally, and I like how they even explain it further. It's like I don't have powers, but because I'm connected to Vecna's hive mind, I do.
He can hijack his
mind.
mind.
And dude, the scene where he's like twisting his head like I thought those scenes were great.
No, I did too. I like that.
And how he fucks up his leg and he's talking through him and he really gets a hold of like these powers and he's able to manipulate Vecna and like kind of get the one up on him for a little while at least.
What's the difference between a sorcerer and a wizard again?
So,
sorcerer, you're born with the magic.
Sorcerer, you're born with it. Wizard, you have to learn.
Right. Okay. All right.
And sorcerers are inherently more powerful than wizards.
Gotcha.
Sorcerers have access to higher level spell slots. Than a wizard.
But they can't be changed, right? Or isn't that the idea? What's the thing with the sword? Like you are born with the spells, or like you have to choose the spells and you just keep them, right? You can't swap them out.
Yes.
I think that's it.
You're more like,
I don't know.
You're more like hard lined into one path.
Right.
Yeah. As D&D players. I wanted to go back to Dustin and talk about Steve too.
Stephen
the Hare Harrington. Oh my God! Every second he was on screen, man. Love Joe Keery.
Oh, he's great.
Great character.
I agree.
I honestly like. I literally think Steve is probably like one of the best television characters I've ever seen. I don't know. I think it's really difficult for you to write a character that you vehemently don't like in the first season to totally 180 them.
It's a good trick
in a very like And like he wasn't like a villain, but like
no, he was a jerk off.
There was no reason to like Steve in the first season. They gave you zero.
He was the jerk jock, really, if anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they revealed him to very much not be that. Dustin and Steve's moment where they're talking, it's hard to like understand like what Steve was kind of saying when, or if he was really just kind of talking out of his ass a little bit and he was just
when he was
upset.
like Eddie died for nothing.
Yeah, or like what he really believed. And I think he was just mad that like Eddie wanted to be the hero and he did exactly that and he fucking died.
Yeah.
And like, that's what happens when you want to be the hero, when you're trying to, again, like be the main character and like you pay the price.
Right.
He went out of his way to do that and he died. When he's like doing the ladder thing and he's going up and he pulls him away and he's like, you can't do this, please, like, you can't die. And it's like, I've already had this happen. I can't go through this again. I'm like, wow.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
Very good emotional moments.
And again,
for sure.
like when Steve and Dustin meet in the second season, when like Steve's going to the Wheelers to apologize to Nancy, it's like so
just by chance.
Right. Yeah. And it ends up being like the best relationship in the show between Dustin and Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the ending scene when he's like in college and he comes out, like, dude, I'm like, this is great.
Oh, it is good.
This is great.
It is a nice happy ending.
I love this. Who's next? Who we want to go to next? What character?
I mean, Max, I know like she has her, I liked them using her as like the kind of castaway almost. She's stranded in Vecna's mind, but she's not like fully connected in a way. She has to get back out through the way she came. And
right.
I don't know if I fully grasp, like she has to basically work her way back through all Vecna's memories to get to the memory where she is taken. So that way she can get out of that memory.
Yeah. And she kind of has to like conjure her way out. And
right.
Lucas probably doesn't have a lot to do this season. He's definitely a side character who is just kind of there, but he's the reason, like playing Running Up That Hill is like kind of what gets Max to like get out in the fourth season, but also in the fifth. Like the fact that he's there playing that song, she's kind of like, think about it. She's there alone. She kind of like talks Holly up to leave. They have a podcast in the Upside Down, like, which is kind of funny. They do talk for a while. And I noticed it watching. I'm like, they are
here for a while.
They're not busy. They're not in any sort of hurry.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, it's fine. But like, Max doesn't have anybody to talk to. So she's kind of like using her experience the few times she opened the portal to like give Holly the motivation to do it for herself.
Right.
And then I was reading up like, Max kind of like used Holly, and I'm like, I don't think Max understood where Holly was.
Yeah, she
doesn't.
She assumed
thinks,
she was in the
you're
upside
gonna go
down.
in the Upside Down, go to your house,
get
we'll
out,
find you.
And then it's also like,
like
what is she gonna do? Just get like, that seems so. That's such a stupid line.
Yeah,
of thought.
I'm like, not all these characters know everything that's going on.
But it's also like used her, like, yeah, I guess used her to get out, but like she saved her. What do you mean she used her? Like her doing that was the only reason she ended up getting out of there and then being safe. So
right.
that doesn't hold any water to me.
Which leads her to go into the abyss, to open the hole, fall through the ground out into the Upside Down for Nancy to see her and hear her, to then be like, holy shit. They have that revelation moment.
And they're like, oh, it's above us. It's a big abyss. Yeah, no, I did. I thought that some of it, again, was a little just, I don't know. I just wanted more, Gooch. I just wanted more, especially even with her. Like, okay, so you just go through this hole in the ground and then you just fall to the ground. Like, is it, but you go through the side of the.
No, you're going through
up and down, but when you
ceiling.
enter yeah, either way. All right, I'm getting the logistics. I don't need to.
The Upside Down is like enclosed.
Right, I get it.
And
it's a literal tube. They show it at one time.
Yeah, the ground is Earth.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is the right side up.
I see. The abyss. Interesting. But yeah, back to Max. She's not using her. I don't know what people are even talking about. And then even when it comes to like all of the kids around, I did love Dipshit Derek a little. I thought he came back around on.
It's hard to introduce a new character at the end of a season where like and like that's sort of how you do it effectively. Like
right.
you kind of it's like a really hammed up character, and like he has a use, and like when he's like, when Steve's like cleaning his glasses and he like just fucking like hugs Steve, or when they're in the truck at the end and he's looking at Mike like a fucking like cheesing idiot, and he's like, and Mike's like, like, I was just like, this is hilarious.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And even I thought all the kids in the like upside, like in Mr. What's-Its place, like there was some good moments, especially just them going crazy and them trying to figure out where they're at.
On each other. Yeah. That felt like a Lord of the Flies
Definitely.
moment.
Yeah,
especially when her friend like hits her,
right,
and like they're really
they basically
going
hold her down.
Like,
yeah,
whoa, yeah. It's like, okay,
there is some wild violence in the show. I forget about some. Even the moment like when Henry blows off the dude's head, or you see his like leg broken. It's relatively realistic. Like it's when you see Vecna's leg get broken, he's such a wild character. You don't really even think about it. But yeah,
let's talk about 11, because I feel like for most of the season she's kind of on a sideline in a way, and I think that makes a lot of sense. The whole show's about her. And I feel like she's at the end of her story, but all the characters have to get to their end so that she can get to her end. And then, you know, the end really focuses on her again. But I think Millie Bobby Brown does a fine job. The lip filler's a little distracting for sure, but like that's really not the Duffer Brothers' fault.
I will say, Gooch, I did not like her at all this season.
Really?
I don't know what, I felt like her acting was really off. And I don't know if she's just trying to play 11 still, and it's that very kind of stilted voice that she does. Or
right, but she has to like be a little bit like she's kind of out of it, but like she still has moments of that original 11.
Yeah,
but like not.
I don't know. She just wasn't like capturing me. Even like her like decision to like sacrifice herself at the end, I was kind of like,
did you really think that was gonna go any other way? Like at the beginning, I'm like, Ella's definitely dead.
Well, but then they go, oh, maybe she's not. Like they leave it up in the air.
We'll
so
talk
it's
about
like,
that. Yeah.
To be honest, yeah, I kind of was thinking she'd just get like, I kind of hate the like the trope of the hero needs to sacrifice himself to stop the bad from continuing.
The
or
only
like, I don't
thing,
know.
Sure,
yeah,
what takes her out of that hero element is like she's the reason the Upside Down is there. So like it kind of it begins and ends with her kind of thing. And even Callie, which gotta talk about her. You know, it's just kind of like Callie.
Which one's that?
The Indian girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, we got to talk about her.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely like a, oh my God kind of moment. But, yeah, like, they kind of have to die with this. And, like, the military thing at the end, it's like they're just going to keep hunting them down. Like, that's the only reason they're not there because of the Upside Down. They're there because of 11. And they want to weaponize her, essentially. And that's what you see. And, you know, it sucks Linda Hamilton's character is sort of like kind of shunted.
Yeah.
Like, I think they could have brought back maybe that other doctor that wasn't Brenner.
Right.
But then you would have had to turn him into a villain and deal with him probably a bit more than they dealt with Linda Hamilton's character. It sucks. That was a very wasted.
I just don't think they should have killed him at the last season, truthfully. Like
Brenner, yeah.
Yeah, like it just felt like there was a big, like the whole military side plot into this, truthfully felt like just like a, here it is. Like, by the way,
we have to
have to kind of put a button on this. And then, like, again, you show all these women in the Upside Down. It's like, we can't let this happen again. It's like,
everyone's
we're just
like,
going
what
to kill
happened?
them.
I'm like, they're dead.
Yeah, but like,
they're dead.
That's a fair.
They all die.
Yeah, but that's a fair question. Like, you just showed all these people, and then Al's just gonna kill them all,
right? Just to show how far. I mean,
I don't know.
What else are they supposed to do?
That's on the writers to decide. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I just
this is again when I go back to that point. I'm like, it's hard to finish a show.
I agree, but
really
there are some
difficult.
clips I'm seeing of the Duffer Brothers, especially out of that doc today, where I'm like,
yeah,
what are we doing? Like that moment when the guy brings up the demo, like he's like, shouldn't there be like a bunch of demodemons down here?
So my thought to that, and I explained it to you on Discord, but I'll say for our audience. Henry is in 12 different kids' minds at the same time. He's fighting off the soldiers. He's dealing with Max. He's, you know, he has some demos on Earth going after Steve and that group. Like, how many things is Vecna capable of doing at the same time? That's why he gets caught off guard. And to me, it made sense why there's no Demogorgons and Demodogs and bats there, because he just isn't ready for it. And he's doing like 15 things at the same time. He is human. He's not he's not the Mind Flayer. And the Mind Flayer needs him. You know, I think there's like a a legitimate excuse in there. It's like, yeah, he did not have the bandwidth to do all these things at the same time.
Gooch, I'm going to be honest. You know what that kind of sounds like to me? Daenerys just forgot about the dragons. She forgot. She just forgot. Like, I don't see any... there's been no reason to lead me to believe that he couldn't do all that. Like, that he couldn't have all these... And I don't necessarily I don't think, like... It's a hive mind, but is he actively controlling each individual monster at all times? I didn't think so.
That's the question.
I just never... That never felt like the implication to me.
There's never, like, a shit ton of them. So, like, what was... what was stopping Vecna from just pouring a bunch of them out in season 1, you know?
Story. But that's the thing. Like, that's... Yeah. But even here, like, you would think that
we're ruining the story by, like, kind of...
No, I think that they... Because, again...
Well, like, what I just said, I mean,
for me,
kind of ruins it.
In that moment, I really did... I didn't know what I felt like was missing in that place. And then once someone said that there were no monsters, I was like, oh, that is what's missing. Like, it just felt so dead to the point where I'm like, well, what's even happening? Like, is there another, like, where's this hive mind? And then... I know, you know me, classic. I knew that the thing was the mind flayer. Like that, it was like a curled up monster. Like
I thought that was
so. I was gonna say
that was extremely obvious
when they revealed it. They were like
mind flayer.
When they revealed it, I was like, it felt like a big reveal. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's the monster.
I thought it was extremely obvious.
And even just that whole moment of like, it's just like these 5 little guys attacking this big monster. I just think that entire Vecna's part could really be reworked for me. And I think I'd like the show 40% better. And
I don't disagree.
You know, it's just I think that they gave us all these threads as far as like the Vecna and the mind flayer of it all. And then I just didn't, for me, get that satisfying like crux out of it of like, well, this is kind of what it's all about. Have you ever watched Lost, Gooch?
Yeah.
You obviously know the ending of that. It didn't feel like that to me. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, like Dharma.
But there, like where I'm just like, nothing. What even the fuck is this at all? Like this, I at least kind of understood it. I'm like, okay, they're on a different planet. In my own assumption, I don't know if this is right. I'm assuming the mind flayer somehow got on this planet, zapped it of all life, got a connection with Vecna, and found out about this whole other world it can travel to, and now it needs Vecna to then do that.
Yeah, or
that's
anybody.
All good, right?
Yeah.
But why? That's the only thing. Just why?
I just don't think when like there's a difference between like an antagonist and a villain.
That's fair.
An antagonist is like a redeemable character, has motivations, there's reason behind it. A villain is just a villain. They are bad for the sake of being bad. There may not be a rhyme or reason to it, and it's just kind of as simple as that. It's the big bad.
And I actually do think
Vecna is the antagonist. Mind Flayer is the villain.
I think I would also like it 30% better if there wasn't a reveal that Vecna was being controlled by the Mind Flayer. I think it works better for me when he is the puppet master, not the puppet. And it's like, okay, he hates humanity. He's been treated so horribly by
totally different story.
It would have made that my mind palace would have filled those gaps in very easily. Whereas in this, you just leave me with those unanswered questions that because I'm interested in the mythology of the Upside Down and like what is the Mind Flayer? What's going on? I would like to know some more, but I just didn't get that. Any other characters?
Well, we were talking about...
By the way, sorry, really quick. Mr. Wheeler gets fucked up, and they just don't talk about him at all.
See, here's the problem. It's just like, how much time do we have?
And no,
Ted
I don't mean
Wheeler was never a big character.
And I'm not saying you have to like give him like 20 minutes, but like I don't know, show him by the hospital.
They go to the hospital for their mom.
Like mom.
Not yet.
No
well, like, you're bringing up Mrs. Wheeler. Let's talk about her. Like.
Yeah.
You know, not really a lot of scenes here, but like, you know, they show her like always, you know, Mrs. Wheeler's always kind of been depicted as this like good mother who's like just on the cusp of like Breaking Bad.
Right.
Almost cheating on her husband, almost kind of ruining her family, being an alcoholic and like drinking, and like Holly's like a fucking whatever she is, and like clearly like can't handle it, and also having marital issues. But like they kind of redeem her. Not that she needed redeeming, but like, you know, like she is a good person. Like, you know, she fights for Holly and defends her, and you know, like she stops being like a flawed mom to being like what you think your mom is when you're a kid, which is like the greatest thing on the planet.
Course,
Like your
yeah.
mom can do anything.
Right,
Sort of
absolutely.
moment.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good. You know, yeah, and like the use of her there, I felt good. Like I didn't feel like her character kind of like again, like Ted Wheeler not getting like that moment. I don't give a shit.
Again, not that he needs a moment, but like you'd be like, Dad, are you okay? Like it just feels like you would come in and be like, Mom, Dad, are you both okay? I don't know. It almost felt like they couldn't get him back in, like for like a shot or something. I don't know.
You were talking about Robin. I like the use of Robin for like Will sort of coming out.
I do too.
Using her as like, hey, yeah, I did this, and it's like it's kind of weird, and it's just like
it's tough, but like you'll get through it.
Yeah,
and like
I'm summing it up in a very poor way. Like you know, the moments they have together when they're alone, and she's talking about like it being within her the whole time, and she didn't really know it, and like kind of like understanding it. I'm like, yeah, this is good. I feel like this is like this is good. Like
I like the Rock and Robin stuff too. I like her having like the radio station and stuff like that for sure. No,
yeah.
I enjoyed all that for sure. And I even think like again her back and forth with her girlfriend and like her having to deal with like I've been lying to her for this whole time and trying to rectify that. It's great. It's really good stuff.
Joyce doesn't do a whole ton this season.
Who's Joyce again?
Are you kidding? Will's mom.
Oh right. I do know her. I just don't know.
Joyce Drive. I've been seeing these videos of like somebody being Hopper, like throwing the keys, like Joyce Drive. Yeah, like I really think like again, kind of like Lucas, like she's there to be like supporting for Will and the friends, and you know she has a few moments with Hopper, but it's like kind of beyond her, except for the end when 11 has defeated Vecna and Vecna is impaled on that spike and she gets the last hit. Like you fucked with the wrong family, because you know you think about it, like the whole town thinks she's insane in the first season.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like she is really if there is I mean, there's a lot of victims here, but like Joyce is definitely like the first and foremost victim of this.
Along
whole
with Will,
thing.
of course, yeah.
Yeah, and gets that moment at the end, like 8 strikes with the axe, cuts his head off. That actually like never actually uses in the whole season. She uses it and swings it at people, and also redemption for like Bob and like like she couldn't help him, save him, loses somebody.
I think her killing Vecna is as poetic as you can get, for sure. Like, I think if you're going to do it, I like that send-off. Again, I've already given you my gripes on the other parts of it, but I think that is a fantastic send-off.
Yeah. We have to bring it back around to 11, because we were talking about her and got off track. But, like, Hopper, I don't know, what's not to like?
Of course.
Yeah.
He's got his Red Guardian beard going still.
I like how they channel the Vietnam vet of him. Oh, like, they brought that up. But they've never really dipped into it.
Right.
I feel like here they really dip into
Definitely.
it. And they kind of give you this, and like when he has the suicide vest on, I'm like, oh, this is like, it's Vietnam coming back.
No,
like,
it's true.
He has that in him. He's been out of the game for a while, but like the fact that he's willing to sacrifice himself, and Al kind of gets mad at him, but it's like, no, I kind of get why he wants to. It's an adult decision.
But I also get her being mad, of course, and being like,
Right.
yeah, like, what are you doing? Like,
and I love the speech to her when he's like, you know, you've had this your whole life has been fucked up.
Yeah.
You've had no childhood, like you've been experimented on your whole life, and it's kind of like, you know, like this needs to end, and you need to like have a life. David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown have some good moments together this season.
No, I agree. I actually think he, even with Mike at the end, that moment where they're having that at the memorial, and
I heard what Hopper had to say.
No, and it was very, it's like you can either
that really spoke to me.
It was a very good line. He's like talking about like how you have two paths. You can either use one, do the one, you hold on to it for the rest of your life and just be angry and push away everyone in your life, or the other is you accept the person's decision and, you know, move on. And
doesn't mean you don't think about it.
Doesn't mean doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a very great.
But you
moment.
live the goddamn best life.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he's
very
like,
great moment.
And he's like, I tried the first one, and let me tell you, I don't recommend it.
I can't recommend it.
Yeah, it's very good. That's a very good moment, and that's kind of the dichotomy of, I think, this last season for me. I think there is some incredibly well written stuff that hit me. Some other stuff.
Those moments I think are like the show. I think like it's funny because I think we're a bit opposite, where like what mattered to me was like these ending character moments where like things really resolve themselves. And I think like I want to talk about the ending and then like finish. Not now, but Like when
yeah, we're getting there anyways too.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
But like with 11 and her sacrificing herself, so should we talk about that now? I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else. Like,
I think we're good.
We talked about the military.
We're gonna miss
Dustin.
Something.
No, I'm just making sure. I think we kind of hit everything. So I'll let. Oh, Callie. I was not surprised that the Duffer Brothers were like, we need to make that the worst episode of the show matter. And I was like, I guess it's a pretty good way to do it, even though I don't really care about this character. And I just kind of, you saw her and you kind of laugh a little bit. It's like they kind of have to make that episode that was like unanimously disliked matter.
Yeah, well, and I also don't think that I think they were kind of in a corner of like, what do we have to use here? And they're like, oh, well, we have a bunch of other 11s and a bunch of other, experiments. I think if they had another way to do it, they would have. But they were like, this is the way to go because,
Right, we have this character, I guess we could use it. And I think it makes sense that they would go after
But she's not like the
number.
pure blood as they come to say it. Like she isn't as pure of a technopath, if you will, as Elle. Like she didn't seem to gain as much power as she did originally.
Right. And I like how they kind of like, I like it and I don't like it for like good reasons, where like she's kind of like infecting Elle a little bit and be like, this is not what we should be doing.
Right.
And it's like, we need to die. And like, we need to sacrifice
just gonna keep
ourselves.
coming.
We need to go get Henry. We need to kill Vecna. We need to end that. And then we end ourselves. That's how we have to do it. And, when she said that, I'm like, well, that's definitely how this is going to end, but probably not exactly the way she's describing it. But I know she creates like an interesting foil of things. And, Hopper's like clearly like, fuck this bitch. We're all kind of like, fuck this bitch.
And then you get the reveal of her actually doing it, which I thought did kind of. I actually didn't expect her to kill herself. I kind of thought they were just going to go the other way of like, she gets away and it's happy.
So, what do you think happened?
But see, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but I think it's interesting.
I don't know. I'm assuming because the way I wish that they just gave the definitive, like I kind of hate the Mike story at the end of like maybe this happened. No.
So
decide on your ending and stick with the ending.
So
don't leave it up to my interpretation.
We didn't even talk about Mike, but that's fine.
No.
When Mike and Elle have that moment and she says goodbye and whatnot, and I think there mentally she reveals her plan to him that we don't know at the start. There are clues. It's like her nose doesn't bleed. Like the things are going off, which is what makes him kind of think about it again. It's like, wait, how could she have used her powers? The sonar things were going off. And her nose didn't bleed. So like, it's kind of like Elle reveals to Mike what they're going to do, but Mike has no proof that what they actually did worked. And that's the intent.
Almost like plants it like a story in his mind, like because the way he describes the story, he's like, I'd like to think that's how it happened. I don't.
But
think
he has no proof that Elle lived. But we see the shot in Iceland with the waterfalls and the town, and it's like, I think we as the audience are supposed to know that yes, Elle lived, but these characters have no proof of knowing. Only Mike's story and Mike's last interaction with 11 that like. This is what's going to happen, but like you're never going to know if it worked.
So I took it more as ambiguous of like that's Mike wants to believe that's what happened, and we're seeing that through his eyes, and we're seeing this like story unfold, and like this is because you see it with you notice there's 3 waterfalls where she goes, and like in his drawing, in it. So I think it's just him hoping, but we're never. And I also think the intention is that it is supposed to be unknowable.
Yes.
Yeah. That it could go either way. And I got to admit, Gooch, I don't like that. I would have much rather them just do the definitive and not like leave it up to my interpretation on that end.
Yeah, I like I kind of like the loose endings. I think I don't know.
Sometimes it works for me. I shouldn't say it's like
I think it worked. I liked it because like Elle kind of says like you have to tell them, and like at the moment and being like like Mike is eventually going to tell his friends what exactly just happened here, and he doesn't do it until that moment when they're playing their their last campaign, which I thought the show ends the way it starts.
Them playing,
playing D&D in the basement. The sprinkler, their mom shouting up from the basement with him, and it really kind of like it. I think if you grew up with the show, and I mean like you were in middle school or something, and like now you're in high school and you're graduating, or like in college and you grew up with the show, you look at that scene, you kind of get it. But like when you're older and you kind of look back at those times with a bit more time and understand, like, this is probably the last, like it's kind of like when we talk about like gaming in middle school.
Right.
It was different. It was never the same. It's never gonna be the same. That's that moment where like Mike walks up, they all walk upstairs, they put their folders away because they're never gonna play D&D in that basement like they did in their childhood ever again.
And I think there's also a bit of satisfaction in seeing that his sister and her friends are kind of taking up and continuing that legacy,
right?
Like
creating their own experiences and things like that.
For sure.
It really hit me because like I feel like I've been like looking back at being 30 and all, and kind of like looking back at those times, and Nancy and Steve and Robin, like their kind of like thing where they've gone and they're doing their own things and they come back and they're like, we got it. This kind of sucks. We're, we don't see each other anymore. Let's try to meet up once a month. We all know that meeting might happen once and never again.
Absolutely.
Like it's this realization of like growing up that like you may not plan to disconnect with these people, but like life happens and you're kind of life just forces you apart from these people.
And I also do think there's a message in the way of like at the end there, it's like, if you do want to see these people, you got to make the effort too. Like if you want to make that 1 month schedule, like, all right, let's make the time. We're going to do this once a month, or we're going to, like, we really want to make that happen.
I think that made me think a lot about my reality a bit, and also just like the reality of life in 2025. Everyone is busy with every fucking little goddamn thing on the planet.
Well, no, and
I feel like in years past, I've had a lot of months and weekends of just like nonstop. And recently I haven't had that. And, I think at some moments I'm like, I kind of wish I was busier, but then like sometimes I'm like, no, I'm kind of glad I'm not.
Live it up while you can.
Yeah, like I have this moment of freedom because I had moments where it's like I have a wedding and a thing and another thing, and I'm with my ex or something like that. Right. It's just like there's always some excuse as to why like you can't do these mundane things with just kind of like get together with your friends that you haven't seen in like 5 years. Even with my friends now, a lot of my friends are married, a lot of my friends are starting to have kids, and I have noticed even my closest friends are just naturally not there like they were.
It's not as available.
And it's not a conscious choice.
No, and it's not
a decision they made.
No,
it's just kind of life.
It's how life works.
And it sucks.
It does,
and like the end of the show really kind of pressed that all together into one ball. And here's like two different versions of that you're going to go through two different versions of this. Not just when you go off from high school to college, and not just when you're older than that, you're college and beyond.
Right.
And life kicks in. It's more than just college. It's everything. And
it's
like
everything.
You're really taken away from like the only thing you knew and this simple existence where like you just played D&D and you fucked around. And
Gooch, there was like a 6-year period where I'd go over my friend Christian Super's house almost every day for like 4 years at a time. Like that's just never going to happen again. Stuff like that, you're just not going to be able to spend the time with your friends or even your family in the same way as you get older. And that's just, it is one of the suckier parts of life. And like you're saying, it's 99% unintentional just because it's just the way life is.
Yeah. And I didn't realize this like the second it happened. I really thought about this finale and like what it was kind of embodying, and that's what I think it was embodying. This not this loss of innocence, but this loss of freedom that like just
of growing up.
Yeah. And I think the show really ends on like probably the best possible note it can, and Mike's smirk at the end. And I love hearing that Steve never left Hawkins. He's a baseball coach, he's a sex ed teacher, and like it's just funny and like makes you smile at the end. And like Jonathan ended up going to NYU, and Nancy goes to Emerson and drops out, and becomes a journalist, and Robin's doing Robin thing.
Another girl boss. I don't need college, Gooch. I'm just gonna do it on my own. Anyway, sorry. No,
I like Nancy a lot, and I sort of like, I like the breakup. Even though like would I've loved it seeing her and Steve together, sure, but like Nancy almost realized that like she didn't know what she wanted, and Steve was almost too good for her.
Well, and even Steve, I appreciated by the end. I do like that moment where Jonathan's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to help out a friend." Like Steve is genuinely at that point with Nancy where he's like, "I see her."
I didn't believe it, but in hindsight,
I do. I believe him in the plutonic. He's like, "No, I don't care. Like I'm genuine. I just care that she's okay."
I mean, I think he loves her the way an ex-boyfriend would love some.
Absolutely.
Right, an ex.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that there.
Yeah. And God, Steve Harrington. What a guy. What a guy.
Gooch's number one mentor. No. Anything else, Gooch?
I mean, we haven't talked about Mike a lot, but again, there's a lot of other things.
I feel like we kind of touched upon him with everyone else too.
Yeah, again, I think Mike kind of has his moment at the end, and that's
with that
really
Hopper
his
stuff for sure.
Right, with Hopper, with Elle, but yeah, he's they're all sort of involved in the plan a little bit. I don't really think we're of course we're missing something.
We're gonna miss. There's gonna be. You're gonna text me as soon as I get home and be like, da 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 da. This is what we missed.
Fuck, we didn't talk about the music.
Yeah.
The music's always been great for Stranger Things.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like this is it's the best thing Netflix has done in a culmination, I think. I think whatever you think about the end of season 5, Stranger Things has some high fucking highs. And it's season 1, 2, 3, 4, all very good. And 5, I don't think 5 is the best season, but I like the way it finished for the reasons I just talked about.
Sure.
And yeah, I think Stranger Things was Netflix's first big thing.
Well, I mean, it was absolutely, especially when it first started back in the day.
Yeah.
And like, seeing it go this long, I think, dragging their feet a little bit to get it out here didn't help them in a way.
I want to mention this. This show went through COVID and it went through a writer's strike. That has to do something to this.
No, it absolutely does.
Has to. We talk about this all the time. With stuff.
No, and I don't think it does something to it narratively. I think it does something to it timeline-wise, of like when it comes out. I think this is what they would have always created, personally. Maybe they would have switched up some things, like because they would have had some younger actors or what have you. But like, you got to watch some of those clips of them in the right.
I'm going to watch a documentary
because
tomorrow.
I will say
I'm gonna watch
they
it
are
in full.
They're questionable. I'm like, guys, what? It comes to that thing, and this might be more common than I realize, and I'm sure it is.
In writer's room where they have no fucking idea.
And by the way, if it comes out being fine, no one cares. It's like Star Wars.
Right.
Star Wars.
You have no idea what's going on in a writer's room.
If that ended up being something that people enjoyed, no one would give a shit that it was came up with on the spot. You know what I mean? It only matters in the end. We get to this point though with this where I think you get these problems that people are having and those little things of like I do think the Demodogs and the Demon-Demons not being around anywhere in there is a relatively large like looming thing for me where I'm like, well, what happened there? And the guy even brings it up in the meeting to them and they're like, huh, and they just move on. I would love to see that process a little bit more, and I'm excited to like go back and watch that. But I don't know. I'd be curious to see what the Duffer Brothers do next. They're obviously doing a spinoff that is to do with Stranger Things. Apparently, it has nothing to do with the Upside Down though, which I don't really get how that works because the Upside Down's destroyed. I guess
no. It has everything. It has everything to do with like the Abyss,
right? And like the Rock and stuff. Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where
I forgot to mention with like Joyce and Hopper, getting engaged. So the show was originally called Montauk.
No, I didn't.
It was based same kind of premise, based in Montauk, New York, and like that's where they're moving.
Sure.
So I think that was like a
little throwback,
cheeky little reference. But yeah,
nice.
I mean, we didn't even mention like Joyce and Hopper getting engaged. Kind of like where you expect.
That's exactly where they end up.
Jonathan's ring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Would you look at that? But anything else, Gooch?
What about Murray?
Oh, Murray is great. I will actually.
He's actually a character
I fucking love.
I have
Murray.
very little to say.
Well, don't get me wrong. He's very much a window character to be fun and be in the side. But every time he showed up, he got a laugh out of me. Yeah. I love that actor. He's in. you've seen The Other Guys, right?
Yeah.
Remember the scene where they're in the woman's like apartment. He's like, pronounce my wife's name correct. It's Lilith. He's so fucking funny in it.
I know he's in that. I don't really know what else he is.
Yeah, he's like a comedic actor. He like pops up in random things.
Yeah.
But
I mean, his whole role is comedic.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the line when they're explaining the abyss. Oh, I mean, I don't care about Lucas's sister necessarily. She has her place. But Mr. Clark, the man.
That was a fun little kind of inclusion.
I love how he's kind of been in the show the whole time. And
he's fully kind of cognizant now of everything and seeing that. Yeah, that was a cool transition.
Okay, so when they're in the squawk and they're talking about, the abyss, and Dustin's kind of presenting it to them. And they're talking about the helicopter and like that idea, and they're like, like spitballing. And Dustin's like, the rotors are like 40 feet. There's no, it's not gonna fit in the fucking hole. And Robin goes, about like big things, making big things fit, don't you, Steve? What the hell is wrong with you? Like, I was like, that was so funny. That was like
the reaction of him going to, what the hell fuck is wrong?
Yeah, like you basically just said, I had a big dick and I use it in front of like my friends, my ex, my ex's boyfriend.
It's a good one.
Like adult, like I'm like, that is so funny.
Very Robin. It works for her. Yeah. All right, I think that does it for us, though, Gooch.
Yeah,
anything else from the Upside Down?
That does it. I want to rewatch this show. I've never said that before in my life.
Yeah, I rarely rewatch shows. Maybe one day. Especially the first season. I would be curious to go back and watch.
I think this rewatching this show would be very
seeing
cool.
Those flashbacks too. It is wild how young they were when we first started. Like I did kind of like forget how young.
Yeah.
But anywho, thank you all so much for watching with us live on twitch.tv/DelcoNerd or any of the other streaming services that we are currently using. Are we on YouTube right now?
We're on YouTube right now.
All right, we're streaming on YouTube. So thank you for watching with us on YouTube. We really do appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network on your service of choice. We got a Facebook page, Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below. Gooch is giving me a face.
Can I totally stop the outro?
What?
The graduation speech at the end with Dustin.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess. What, like,
I don't know. It's like
he just does the Eddie thing.
He is the Hellfire Lives.
Yeah, and then he's the valedictorian. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm totally sorry.
No,
I've never interrupted him hard in the middle of it.
It's all right. It's all right.
But I just thought of that and I was like, fuck. No, I love that scene where he's talking about how like. Yeah, like I've made friends, like we've all grown as people. Yeah. This time in this town has been crazy, and like I didn't think I was gonna be here where I am now, or like the friends I have. Like very, very good moment with him. Love seeing Steve in the crowd with those glasses and that suit, man. Oh,
Gooch, I think you have a crush.
I do. I genuinely do. I do have a crush on Steve. He's got fucking fantastic hair. What's not to like?
And he's a funny guy. True, he's charming.
End of Beginnings. How do you say Joe Keery's like band name? Is it just Joe?
I don't know.
DJO?
I have no idea.
I would love an answer in the comments. End of Beginning should have played when they're talking and like they're talking about going to Philly or whatever. Like End of Beginning should have played right there.
Right.
That would have been very meta, but like
I was gonna say a little
very fitting.
Sure.
That's it.
No, I got you. Well,
that's it. I would have killed myself if I forgot that one.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just lead back into the whole thing again. Thank you all for watching with us live on twitch.tv and YouTube live as we stream. We really do appreciate it. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Search Delco Nerd Network on your service of choice. We got a Facebook page, a Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below. You can find all this information on our website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. Did I say the social medias? I'm all over the place now. At Delco Nerds on everything with an @ You can email us your comments, questions, or concerns to DelcoNerds@gmail.com. We're happy to get back to you. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time in the Upside Down.